Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. Back from a trip to New York, Western New York, to see my family, kind of rejuvenated and refreshed. You're kind of have just me today, and we're going to talk about color, the science of color, how it affects our life, our mood, and can even, used in the right way, build us toward the growth of our mind and our success in this world. So feel free to call in. This is Jillian Collins, your host at Nooga Radio. We are 1240 AM and 92.7 FM. We're broadcasting live from Hickson, Tennessee here, and you're welcome to call in as well. The phone number here is 423-800-8949. 423-800-8949, and I'd be happy to talk with you about your reaction to color and art, and how you found different colors to affect your life. So I do have a website, Vanguard Artistry, so that gives you an overview of my work, which is I call modern impressionism. A lot of color, a lot of line and vibrancy going on there. I have shown in Chattanooga, and Michigan, and New York State. So just, starving artists continuing to work towards my dream. And I've shared my dream a little bit before on this show, and it has to do with breast cancer awareness. And I have a series that I've been working on for 3 years that I hope to reach into that community with in a healing way, in an uplifting way, and in a way that's going to help these women to feel beautiful and appreciated, or to express their pain and grief. They're both valid in art. We often think of art as just beautiful, and to me, it is all beautiful, be it dark or representing joy. It reflects the human condition, our experience. It talks about that, like all of the arts, dance, music, comedy, all of it. I don't want to leave anyone out. The list is so long of what the arts comprises of, what makes up the arts. And the foundation of this show is, number one, how art works through us, and how our society and the time we live in relate to one another through art. Why is it important? Why do some of us feel compelled every day or to continually, no matter what, produce this creative things that come out of us, be it whatever art form it is, music, dance, poetry. I also write poetry, and for years I've just written it and buried it. It comes out and I don't think much of it, and yet I have now hundreds of poems. So, it just happens, and it just comes out of us. So I'm kind of been in a dry period. I moved, and every time I move, I get this time. And I'm sure some of you artists feel the same way, that when you disrupt your studio space, nothing like the Art 120 group that lost everything in a fire, and yet there's a disruption when I move, and I think other artists too. And you have to find that new energy in your space. And, not to be all like Twilight Zone. Life is energy. Everything is made up of molecules that are moving. Everything, connects to one another. We can't really separate ourselves from this universe. You can't separate yourself from that person that you consider either a light and a joy and encouragement in your life, or the ones that I call Eeyore type people that just suck your energy out of you through their feeling down and blue, So that kind of leads into what I want to talk about today, which is color. What is color? Why is it important? How does it affect us? There's scientific studies and evidence that color has a definite effect on each of us. Everything has a vibration. Everything has molecules, and color is the light spectrum of this universe, brought into view. It exists in the energy state, of course. Each color has a different vibration, short or long, and depending on all that. So we puzzle, we ponder, we pern and pine. Sometimes we feel this vague unease, and through color, we can kind of thwart the monster of doubt and learn to move forward by purposely setting before ourselves healing colors and situations. So, you can actually use color to heal yourself emotionally. And through color, so much can be expressed as well. So, this is, literally science. You've got black, which is the absence of color, white, which is which seems almost contradictory, but white is all of the colors together. And the rest of them in between have another power altogether. And color's energy, and it has molecules or it couldn't exist. Everything has a physical form, and color takes a physical form when the light spectrum goes through different particles in this universe. And each of us can kind of tend to be drawn to different colors, pink for baby girls, blue for baby boys. That's not as much anymore, but say hospitals, why do they use the calm blues and soft colors? Because it helps you to relax. It creates a relaxed reaction in your mind, literally scientifically. So, the energy of color is important, and you can see the pure light shining through in a rainbow prism after a storm. This is the color spectrum, showing itself to us in the human form, and we can see it. I don't know of anyone who doesn't enjoy standing and gazing at a beautiful rainbow. And in many cultures, it's also used as a symbol of hope because it comprises all of the colors and all the reactions and emotions they bring out in us together. And, it's something that we can always look at and know that when we see, a rainbow, we know that something amazing is going on in this universe. We feel its beauty. And we have a reaction, So I've always looked at the universe and seen it in almost a almost a jealousy, of the creator. It's like, wow. I mean, to have the power to create this world to be so beautiful and magnificent, and then also to have, the other side of it, the depth of humanity, the poverty, the pain. It's just more than our heads can really take in, So. But while we're using color, each color literally vibrates at a different frequency. And depending on where it is in the color spectrum, So we're going to talk about that. And some wavelengths are short, like violet. It's a very short wavelength. And the longest wavelength is red. And those happen to be on opposite ends of the spectrum. The rainbow, the chakra colors. Red represents the base root of our being, of our energy, and it's also the base of the rainbow, and it represents so many things. So each color has a different wavelength, and it literally can produce good feelings or anxious feelings. Too much light, too much color can eventually overwhelm us, and then we seek a quiet place. Many of you may decorate with like oceans and blues, because it's calming in your home environment. So, but like I'm going to show you this piece. It's a Marilyn Monroe print, okay? And those of you who are watching on either Facebook or YouTube, she is matted in red. And I believe that because she represents that sensual, sexual part of life, and that's not all red is. It represents so much more. It's stimulating, it's healing. Not a color they recommend for a bedroom, because it's going to actually not aid you in sleep, but it's going to stimulate your mind. And if you have insomnia, it's just going to get, more pronounced. So red is a really powerful color, and you've seen it all through history. Why do we say, we're in the red? Why do we talk about red meaning different things specifically? It, represents Valentine's Day, for instance, red. There's so many things that red has come to reflect in this life. And if you're depressed, if you surround yourself with red, it's going to stimulate your mind to a different level, where your feelings of inertia, fatigue, or sorrow are going to be encouraged by this vibration of red. It's going to help jolt you out of that depression. It's literally a color that its vibration is going to reach that part of your mind, and romantically, it's like a booster rocket. We see this, why the scarlet letter in history. We look back through literature and art, and, red is the color of basically the woman in the red dress, the harlot, the prostitute. It's often pictured in red because it stimulates these base root parts of us that are for survival, for life, and that's why red is so important. So if you're feeling down, and I'm just suggesting, surround yourself with some red, put on some bright red, use it and try this, and literally it is scientific. These colors have vibrations. It's been proven through science. We are alive and our molecules are moving. So as we put these other things in our path, they help to stimulate parts of us that are going to help us to reach our goals, to feel better. If I'm down, I play comedy. So that encourages me. If I'm feeling down, I just put on some comedy and pretty soon I'm laughing, and that changes my vibration. It changes my thought patterns. And red has that same power. So don't shy away from it. Red's an amazing color. And I'll have to say that I've been in churches where it's the color of the devil. Don't wear red. Come on. All colors are created. All colors are beneficial. And we can't, give the power of something over like that in society to say this color represents evil, or black represents death, or white represents life. They all work together and they're all really one. And we can see them in separated areas of life because we have the sunlight and the vibration that separates them. So, that's the thing about red. And many people have their house done in red. And that's an encouraging color, for your main living space. It's going to continually give you that vibration. One of my best friends, Morris Mitchell, his home is done mostly in red paint, and he is a master artist, 80 years old, with the life of a 20-year-old in his spirit and eyes. And I do believe, he naturally understands the benefit of having that in his environment to continually produce that response in himself. It's up to us. We can choose not to find avenues to be happy, or we can utilize art, color, and this sort of thing to help us on our path in life. And it's a choice. So, the red is like the first chakra, and that, is our base, our root. So it's a very important color for us. So, and the next color in the spectrum is orange. And I kind of have to laugh because we're in Tennessee and orange is powerful in the sports teams, in the arena of life here. Orange is seen everywhere. It's our color, and orange is the social energy. I mean, it bounces around. It's bright. Its vibration, is still short, but it's powerful. So orange has been known to help heal the respiratory system. And it's the color known for change and hope. That's why I think a lot of sport teams use this color. It unifies, it encourages, and it helps them to work as a team. Orange actually has the scientific studies show that orange helps a collaborative effort. If you're struggling, you have employees, this or that, or even a family, especially, use some orange in your home to help stimulate a cooperative spirit, like a sports team. It helps us to put aside our differences and look at the whole. So it actually has, a real vibration. And I don't have a lot of orange in my artwork. This has been interesting as I've gone through looking at this study of color and science and how it reacts with our mind, our spirit. And I don't have much orange, but this piece that I have here, which is called Survivor, is a very raw painting of, it looks like a woman that's like a Medusa. She's crouched down with a blue dress, and she has long kind of orange and brown red hair. And behind her is a darkness on one side, almost a void. And on the other side is like a fire. And in that fire is the orange. And, you're not going to necessarily see that in this picture, the encouraging part, but that color, that orange, brings, if you even look at this piece, it brings more of a light and a hope. The darkness at the bottom, you feel that pulling you down. But when you get to the orange and the bright stuff, the fire, there may be hope, or at least a dispersion of what's going on, because it's obviously being consumed. So this is Survivor, and it's a very personal painting of mine, representing parts of my life that just came out very quickly and emotionally. And it is one of my favorites, even though it's a bit dark and strange. So, Tennessee has a lot of orange, on any given Sunday. You're going to go out, you're going to see a lot of orange shirts. You're going to see a lot of orange ball caps. And that's a camaraderie, a coming together and supporting of each other in our sport teams here in this area. So it really is a powerful one. It's friendly and approachable. It emits welcoming. I mean, how many people you see dressed in orange you just want to avoid? You kind of feel drawn by orange, like, wow, that's, it's a bold color to wear, in my opinion, but it certainly attracts, orange attracts another person to be drawn to at very least look at you. And if you're looking at someone, there's an interaction of some kind going on in the universe between you two. So orange is a healing color. You can use orange when you're needing a balm to your spirit and just to promote positivity and hope, so these colors truly interact in our lives. And I know each of us who chooses to decorate our home each day, when we choose our clothing, our children's clothing, our artwork in our home, our car, we're expressing something about ourselves and our environment, our goals even. So each color, is going to have a really powerful effect in those ways. So, and again, orange is also represented in the chakra, which is an energy center of the body. For those of you who may not know, it's a representation of the light of the body from the rainbow colors going up to the head. And it represents, orange is kind of like just the lower abdomen area. It's your personal passions and this sort of thing. And using orange can really just encourage you in your life and help you to balance. So, then the next color in the spectrum is yellow and in the rainbow. And, I'm pretty sure most of us have picked a yellow daffodil and looked at it. And through that, there's a moment of you stop and you have joy and you feel that flower, you feel that color, you look at it. It's one of the first colors of spring, one of the first flowers of spring. And as we look at that flower, there's a brightness, a good feeling, a light, because yellow tends to promote, a really positive feeling. And it holds the first place for maximum brightness and luminosity in colors. It's the color of sunshine. Yellow represents illumination, creativity. In a lot of art, it's used in stars and in light filtering through things. Without yellow, things are very flat. Yellow brings a brightness and a depth to things. And, as we relate that into our emotional being, yellow is the optimistic color. If you are lacking in optimism, try surrounding yourself in some yellow and see if that doesn't help change your thought process, literally. Not just flowers, but possibly paint a wall yellow or things like this, because it literally is going to put a different vibration through the color. That's a real scientific vibration that's going to happen. Energy interacts all the time. I'm here talking to you on the air. That's energy. And with or without the broadcasting part of it, if I was talking with you in person, we'd still be having an exchange of energy. So yellow, it shows you the infinite detail. It shows you infinity. If you want to use anything representing light, you really have to use yellow. It's for art. You can do white, but you're not going to get the depth and the glow that you get from yellow. It's known as a happy color. Dandelions, they're happy. Most people try and get rid of them, but I think they're beautiful. And I think they're put here on this earth in the spring to give us joy and encouragement. And although they turn to puffs and blow all over the place, they are truly actually good for us physically. That flower, if we eat the root and eat the parts of it, it actually cleanses our body. So all of this works together, and this creation that we live in, yellow encourages creative ideas, encourages that part of our brain to open up, to maybe feel freer to think about things. We're not in a dark place. We're looking at the brightness of life. We're being lifted up by that vibration to be maybe brave enough to try some other things in creativity. It's a good for tension. It opens up pores, believe it or not. It's such a great color. And if you want to have a positive mental activity going on and find solutions without stress, try putting yellow in your environment. And, I'm not claiming scientifically all of this exists with the colors and the energy. but I encourage you to experiment with some colors, see how you feel when you have different colors surrounding you, because it can truly change your day and therefore changing your life, because the more days we're positive and active, the more we accomplish in this life. So it's just a kind of a fun way to stop and use art to say, what does this really do? So I know that in a lot of mental hospitals, they use green because green is the color of balance. And that's our next color in the spectrum. The fourth chakra represents that. And it's the color of love, balance, the yin and the yang. So that's why it's used in so many institutions where there's mental health issues and things like this, because people's physiological response has been measured, and green actually reduces stress. So it's a very good color to use if you're very stressed out, and you're having a lot of struggle with that. It also has a very magnetic appeal because it is a balanced, opposites attract. In love, it's certainly in the chakras, it represents love. You can feel your green chakra right in your chest, right in between your heart. And I can say that when you're in love, if most people, that's where you feel that love. You literally feel it when you're in love. Your heart breaks or your heart is happy. And there's an actual pressure there that most people can sense and feel. So that's because that part of our body is literally responding to the balance, to how much that affects our being. So, green is just a wonderful color, self-regulation. It represents self-awareness. And of course, nature, the beauty of nature. When you go out into the woods and out into the path, and the green leaves are there and the sunlight's filtering through them, and a multitude of greens that can barely be represented through artwork. It's quite a lot. Greens are very challenging because there's so much light filter involved with green. It comprises all the colors, basically all the spectrum come together in a balance in green. And, it's a color you can use, the color of money. Green's the color of money, success, happiness, balance, and so it also helps heal emotional wounds. So that's why it is used in mental health so much. So green is a great color to put around. Maybe if your children are experiencing a lot of stress at school, perhaps a green room for them to come to afterwards will be helpful. You can utilize color to enrich your life. And that's only the first part of the color spectrum, but we got to take a break in a minute here. I encourage anybody to call in the second half if you want to talk about color. 800-8949-423, 800-8949. You can talk with me, Jillian Collins, on Nooga Radio, 1240 AM, 92.7 FM. And we can share with Chattanooga and beyond about how this affects our life. Even if you don't believe it, fine, you can share that. We can talk about that. So either way, if you want to jump in and watch the second half of the broadcast, we're going to talk some more about all of this. Thanks for joining me today on Nooga Radio, the Art Beat of Chattanooga, and I'll see you in a few minutes.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Come see the fastest dirt late model drivers in the South compete for a purse every Saturday night. Pit gates open at 3, grandstand opens at 5. Racing starts at 7. Bring the whole family for a night of fun as they tear it up on the dirt track. Go to BoydSpeedway.net and check out the Dirt Simulator. BoydSpeedway.DirtSimulator.com. Chattanooga's best kept secret, Boyd Speedway. Fun-filled, outrageous racing. We'll see you Saturday night.
The Nesmith Street Stock Event. Limited late models, crate late models, sportsman, hobby, and street stocks.
Boyd Speedway.
There's a reason why Alliance Physical Therapy is a choice of professionals and those who care about first-class, top-notch service and treatment. Because at Alliance Physical Therapy of Chattanooga, we don't just treat the symptoms in your body. Whether you're suffering from stiffness, muscle spasms, back pain, chronic headaches every day, stress of life demanding more and more of you, Alliance Physical Therapy takes a holistic approach to healing mind, body, and soul. Alliance Physical Therapy with a location near you and 9 others in the Chattanooga area. If you don't have a doctor or if your physician's plan for chronic pain is not working, Alliance Physical Therapy will help. Visit Alliance Physical Therapy on the web at nopainpt.com. That's nopainpt.com. Alliance Physical Therapy.
Window Depot of Chattanooga. They're locally owned and operated and been around since 2008, installing top quality vinyl replacement windows. You get the best price and service in the area. Top quality double pane, energy efficient windows. They look great and save you money.
Oh, I love to save money.
You'll also save money on your heating and cooling costs. Call 894-0011. 894-0011. WindowDepotChattanooga.com. WindowDepotChattanooga.com. Sales and installation professionals. You'll get a fantastic job while helping to enhance the value, appearance, comfort, and efficiency of your most valuable asset, your home. Other window providers? No way. Window Depot of Chattanooga's windows qualify for the TVA rebate. Sliding doors, gutters, soffits, fascia, garage doors, and other home improvements. If you want to save a ton, call 894-0011. WindowDepotChattanooga.com. WindowDepotChattanooga.com. Window Depot of Chattanooga. Sales and installation professionals.
Is your career taking you where you want to go? If not, talk to Covenant Group Insurance, especially if you like helping people. Call and learn how you can work for yourself, but not by yourself. Intense but free training, plus a fantastic lead program, plus office support equals your success, your prosperity. Gross at least $75,000 your first year selling insurance. Call Steve or Jada for a confidential interview. That's 855-8484. Maybe the most important call you make all year.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM news now. A lover's dispute almost leads to murder. Lanita Jean Binford, who's 34, from Orchard Knob, has been charged with attempted first-degree murder after a man says that she lunged at him with a knife but missed and then drove away in a car. The reason this all happened is because Miss Binford says that the man broke up with her and lied about being divorced. A police officer was right around the corner and arrested her after she sped off. The former vice mayor of Saudi Daisy is now suing the city after she fell and hurt her ankle badly. She's now suing the city for $175,000. C. Mark Warren is representing her. He says that she sustained significant injuries to her right leg at the Pioneer Day celebration when she tripped over a cinder block that was securing a tent. 15-year-old subject of an Amber Alert, Trinity Quinn, is now being tried along with Daniel Aaron Clark with criminal homicide and attempted auto theft and especially aggravated robbery after police believe that she was involved in the killing of a store clerk in Nashville. Heavy rains expected today. Drive with caution. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Nooga Radio AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Expect scattered showers and a few storms to march in from the south and west through your afternoon and evening. Otherwise windy at times. Highs upper 60s to near 70. Tonight, a lingering shower, cooler by morning, lows upper 40s. For Friday, breezy with showers, highs only to the lower to middle 50s. Continued cool Saturday. The forecast is calling for more rain, and if you're going to be on the road, visibility could be quite low. Napa Auto Parts can help with everything your car needs to keep visibility and at all-time high. That's Napa know-how. And I'm Smorgine 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Hoare. On Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
The Tennessee Valley's news, talk, and sports leader. Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM.
Welcome back to the Art Beat of Chattanooga, where art lives. Because art lives, you know, it's part of life, it's part of society. It represents society and life and influences art. So I'm Julianne Collins, your host, and I'm a local artist as well, Vanguard Artistry. Also have a book, Poems from Secret Garden, which is written by Fred Ballou and has 10 illustrations in it that I've done. So that's available on Amazon, and it's a really great book. 15 years of writing in this book and 2 years of artistic corroboration between the writer and myself. So it's a great book, Poems from a Secret Garden. So we've been talking about color, the science of color in a general form, because I'm not a scientist, and about our human physiological and emotional reaction to color. So I've got Russell with me, another radio show host, and we're going to kind of talk about this on a broader spectrum of another person's response to this who doesn't claim to be an artist. So are you an artist, Russell? No, but your mom paints a little bit.
Yeah, she's done a few paintings.
Yeah, so but Russell's has his own art form, I think, of the radio. It's an art form in a sense, because you have to get out there in the public and put yourself out there and get a response. So, it's not maybe considered an art, but it's part of the arts to me, where the media is our avenue to each other in this world. So
it's the art of communication.
Exactly. So I love that, the art of communication. So see, you are an artist.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't want to, carefully not broaden it to every single aspect of life, but art is certainly a part of a lot of our lives. So Nooga Radio, 1240 AM, 92.7 FM. We're broadcasting live on Facebook and YouTube, so you can join us. You can call in 423-800-8949, 423-800-8949 if you would like to share about an experience or something like that you have concerning color and art, where it has affected you and you're aware of it. So I covered the color spectrum from red to green, utilizing the rainbow and the chakra colors, which are very well known in the Eastern cultures and now all over the world as the representation of the energy centers of our body. And, so we've covered those, and you got from the red, orange, yellow, green, each representing a part of your body. Like yellow actually represents our personal power, along with, the light and bright, encouraging aspects. If you get a cop behind you, where do you feel that in your body, Russell?
Usually near my gun or something.
Near your gun. Okay. In your body, though.
Oh, well, yeah, I usually feel, butterflies.
Where do you feel those?
The center of your body, generally.
Yeah, like right in the center, or just right in the center, because that's your fourth chakra right there.
Yeah,
that's
the sternum area.
Your energy center going, oh, no, now what? So no offense to the police of our great country, because, we certainly appreciate the protection. But when you're behind us with your red and blue lights flashing, we're feeling this yellow, in our tummy. So
you become hyper aware of every little move you're making.
You sure do, and every move you might have made a few minutes ago. And,
right.
I hate it when I'm just cruising along and I'm not even, I'm not trying to speed, but all of a sudden you're doing, like 70. You're like, oh, no, So, but we're going to a minute go over the fifth chakra, the cool blue, the blue part of the color spectrum. And who doesn't know the saying about I feel blue? Why in the music industry is the music called blues?
Right, yeah.
So there's a universal response to Picasso's blue period. I tend to paint in a lot of blue, and I have to work very hard to get away from it.
Lots of purple too. You got a lot of purple going on in there.
Yeah. I love the cool colors. Blue is a cool color. Red, yellow, and orange are warm colors. And then green moves into a neutral. And then you've got blue, violet, and indigo, which are the cool colors. So, there are two different things that you can, feelings that they give you and things. I mean, obviously red, yellow, and orange represent fire and the sun and all of that. And water is blue or green, the sky blue. So these things have an actual relationship in nature.
I think there's kind of an active versus passive thing going on there too, because blues tend to be sort of like a passive feeling, and reds are a lot more active.
Exactly. Red is a very active color, and we tend to, if we create a scene in our home or a decorative touch of having the lakes, the sailboats, the blue seas, that's a very restful feeling.
Yeah.
And you'll see that in a lot of resorts because it's so relaxing.
Lots of whites too. When they want sort of a relaxing feel, they do a lot of the linen sort of stuff going on.
Yeah, and it's funny enough, like white actually is the combination of all colors.
Yeah.
And that's such an odd thought for me because it seems like it'd be black.
Yeah, it is kind of an odd thing. I thought it was the other way around. I thought white was the absence of color and black was the combination.
No, it's actually the opposite.
Huh.
Yeah, and it seems odd. But white, when you think about it, it's light, it's bright. It represents, purity, the universe. Go to the white light, go to the light. It's just kind of known as this spiritual all in all because it embraces the whole prism of color.
Right.
So it's a huge vibration going on. So what do you think about that, Russell? About color vibrates. That's what science is saying and has discovered. Like, what do you think about that concept that everything's molecules, therefore we all affect one another, even colors or things?
Well, sure. I mean, just working in the field of radio, that there are frequencies. We work on different resonant frequencies. It's physics. I'm not big into the metaphysical aspect of it, but just from the scientific standpoint, sure.
Well, I think you're related to Spock, so that doesn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, I've been told that before, but yeah, when you look at, especially radio, everything has a frequency, and we're all familiar because what a frequency is a cycle, right? So if something is at, as an example, 1240 a.m., that's 1,240 kilocycles. So it's all about cycles, how many times something pulses. So yeah, we're very familiar with that. Color is the same way because the color is how many times a light beam bounces within a certain spectrum. So yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Right. And then it reacts with us because we're also made up of moving molecules. We have energy of our own. And there's the whole law of attraction about bringing on into our life through positive thought what we want. Obviously the world has its own ideas about certain things, but on a day-to-day basis, color can be used to encourage yourself, and blue represents the contentment, understanding, surety, and surrounding yourself with blue can help you to feel grounded, that you have the tools you need for success, that, you can calmly evaluate your path because, you kind of shut out some of those crazy vibrations that go on with the other colors. And it's just this kind of serene time and you can focus, So it's a great color, and it helps insomnia. All of you who Russell, blue is very good for insomniacs. So
oh well, there you go.
It helps your mind to come to that calm place, and it can help you to go to that restful place. So it helps you. Just we all know if you're sitting and you're looking at the water or even a room that's blue, we feel calm, and that's why those vibrations are reaching into us and we're reacting to them. So you can use it, it's a tool. Color can be a tool.
Sure.
And certainly in my art, it's a tool. And this piece here also, it's a very simple painting of a figure bent over on their hands and knees with their head dropped down. And it's kind of a little bit abstract, but underneath is some darker purples and dark colors, and above is lines of purple and yellow. And the yellow, what do you think that represents to you?
Well, it depends on what your intent was, but for me, it's sort of like a light streaming down, sort of a hopefulness type deal. Exactly.
Yep. And without that yellow light in this piece, it would feel more despair. This person is feeling despair because of their position and the darkness below them. But the light in the purple spectrums above represent, hope, joy, and then purple represents, a really spiritual arrival. Purple is the most spiritual color. It's the compilation of our brain and our spirit, reaching out to help our life be more positive and grow. So, so anyway, that's exactly it, Russell, that color. And, I don't want to ignore one other color here as we move ahead. We've got the whole spectrum, and then violet is at the top of the rainbow. Ultraviolet. Yes, it is ultraviolet. And, colors are used all over the world. And
scientifically, ultraviolet is used to expose things you wouldn't see with your naked eye.
Yes. Yes. Some people do not want to take an ultraviolet light into certain areas like a hotel room.
Right. Yeah.
Things like that, because you're going to go, what in the world? It's going to be pretty scary.
That's why I take a sleeping bag to hotels.
So, yeah. So indigo or violet, it's a combination of violet and blue. And that, it's kind of funny. This is saying it's used to to color jeans. No kidding, you know. But it symbolizes the spiritual eye, and in the chakras, it represents the spiritual eye. Excuse me.
And unstableness of the sinuses.
Makes you cough. Self-contemplation, you know, intuitive powers, and I'm kind of the, you know, the gypsy radio host here that brings in this, you know, I talk about chakras and things like this. Yeah, I'm the free radical. Yeah. I collect the bad guys and drag them out. That's what free radicals, like an antioxidant.
Right.
So, you know, but each of these colors represents, if you have a bad memory, which, hello, I definitely struggle with that. Indigo helps memory. You struggle with memory through aging or disease or just busyness. Some time with the deep indigos can help your memory.
Interesting.
So, you know, that's the part of our brain it stimulates, you know, our mind, our brain. And it's also the color of royalty.
Yeah, I knew that. Yeah, purple is generally the color of royalty.
It is. I mean, all the way from the Bible, she clothes herself in silk and purple, to kings wearing purple robes, to priests wearing the vestments and things with the purple brocade and that sort of thing.
There's an interesting reason behind that, too. Back in the older days, it was hard to make colored pigments, and making something that was purple in large quantities in order to, you know, dye clothing was really expensive. And so it was usually only delegated to, you know, rich people because they could only afford purple.
Yeah, and it's a beautiful color. It does represent wealth, and the richness, the depth of the color itself makes it appealing, you know, because it's just deep and beautiful and rich. And that's a good point, Russell, because throughout history, we now have an access to color that's never been known before.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can synthesize color with next to no cost whatsoever. There's international shipping. It's easy now.
And you can pull up a color almost anywhere you want with your phone or your computer. Sure. I mean, it is just everywhere. Color's always been everywhere, but now you can pick and choose, and you can order anything you want, you know. So in the old days, they had to grow plants, dry them, grind them, dig up clay to create their colors and pigments, and we don't have to do that.
And they're potentially really dangerous chemical processes, like Prussian blue was made through the process of making cyanide. So dangerous stuff, man.
Yeah, but it's a beautiful color.
I love it. It's one of my favorites.
You know, so a lot of the colors are mineral based. They're beginning. It's all in the earth. Every color here can be created through something in nature. Now we have synthetic colors and things like this, but when you go back down to it, like crimson red and you got burnt sienna, these eventually go back to the colors of the earth or of the flowers, you know, the spectrum that we have here. But now we can just produce them so much more readily, and I'm thankful because, you know, I don't have time to go dig around and make my colors anymore, you know?
It's funny, too, when you think about the computer aspect of it, because most of us, when we see exotic colors, we probably see them online. But what you're, like, from the physical aspect, what you're looking at is just any given combination of red, green, and blue. That's what computer monitors are.
I'm going to bring a book in and we'll talk about that a little further.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Yeah, I actually have been studying color mixing, and the premise of the primary colors has some basis, but from there it moves into the hue, how much black is involved, the value, the transparency or opaqueness of a color.
Right. Yeah. It's all very important.
To just take the primary colors and try and create all you want as an artist, very difficult.
Right. I'm just saying that's what computers do.
Yes, they do. But they also must utilize the other rules of color, which are the opaque parts, the transparent parts of color, which color allows the other one through. You know, they actually work together in different ways. And some colors will block other colors. And you've got your opposites, blue and orange. They will neutralize one another.
Huh.
Red and green neutralize each other. You know, I think it's brown and blue. No, brown. Anyway, that'll make mud. You know, it's pretty easy to make mud with paint and color. So if you don't really learn, you know, how to mix the colors beyond just their primary focus, it can be a challenge as an artist, at least, you know, to get what you want on that canvas. So, you know, I'll bring in my book about yellow and green don't make blue.
Interesting.
Yeah. Or something like that. It's a very interesting book, and it shows you how to mix every color you could possibly want.
Huh.
Yeah.
Just through like charts? Or?
Yes.
Huh.
Yeah. Specific charts, including the colors, the transparencies, and all of that working together. Combinations. It's very interesting. It's very scientific, which for me is a challenge. I love science, and I did all that in high school and, all that chemistry class and stuff. But to transfer that into mixing exactly what I want to take a creative part of my brain and put it on canvas, that's, you have to study it.
Yeah.
It's that much depth to color,
It's a huge, it's something people have been studying for thousands of years now, is how color works and why it works and what it does. And it's a massive topic.
It is. And, I'm very interested in the vibration part of it, I guess, because, I'm interested in kinesiology and things like this. Why do we react to a color, really? When you look at this piece here, I don't think I've ever titled this, but it's a person with an umbrella kind of tucked together, leaning forward, running through the rain or walking through the rain. And it's done in a lot of blues. And, everyone that I know so far who's looked at this feels the sadness here of this piece because of the position of the figure, but because of the blues too. If this was done in, say, yellow, it really wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, it wouldn't be as melancholy.
Right. So it's a melancholy piece because of, number one, the subject matter. And then you've got driving rain and someone hunkered under an umbrella. But you can imagine this in other colors. Say I did it in orange and, green. It wouldn't represent this at all.
I think there's acid rain in there on Mars.
I like that. We can move to that. That's pretty cool. So, so Russell, do you have any memories of parts of your life where you recall something that was a color that you reacted to or anything like that?
Geez. I'm not a very artistic person when it comes to visuals, but I'm trying to think of, there's one movie I've always liked, and it came out 2009 or something, and I watched it when it was new, and it's actually called Upstream Color, and the story is really weird. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me because it's very artistic, but the colors are really well done in that movie, and it's an all digitally shot film. But there's one part where they're scraping pigment off of this flower, and I don't know. I just remember that part.
That's really neat. I love that.
It's a really cool movie.
What's it called?
Upstream Color.
I got to go watch that. I hope it's on Netflix.
It's by the same guy who did Primer, which is a movie about time travel, which is also a very weird movie.
Yeah, but I love that aspect, so I don't have specific, I remember, okay, this is giving my age away, in kindergarten, learning the color brown, the name for the color brown. I remember it on the color chart on the wall in kindergarten. I knew all the colors, but I didn't know the name for brown.
Weird.
Yeah. Nowadays, the kids know their colors at 1.5. But, we just played and things like that. We didn't worry about, my parents didn't have the responsibility to get me reading or whatever. And they were great parents, Mom, rock. But I do remember that. So other than that, I don't have a lot of color memories. There was a lot of red in my home at times and blue. My mom decorated with, different colors. And so now I look back and think, well, how did that make me react, in that environment?
I was one of those kids who was reading and writing before actually being in school. So
yeah.
Just one of those.
Yeah. Well, you're smarter than me. So whatever.
No, I wouldn't say that. It's different levels, different areas of intelligence. I'll put it that
also way. Different eras of birth. You were younger by a good deal than me. So I really see the young people of today. Not to be a grandma here, but my grandson, who's 4, is drawing complex drawings. What is it? A long-nosed blue seal or something is his favorite animal. And his sketchbook, 4-year-old, is filled with pictures that he's drawing of these creatures. I'm looking at one. He said it was a pileated python. And he's 4. I was like, excuse me, what did you say? What kind of python? Pileated. And I looked at him like I didn't know what it was. And he goes, pileated python, at the zoo. I'm like,
jeez,
he's 4 years old. This child's drawing already these animals, and using line, and he's using gesture line and things that I teach kids later in life, sometimes even in high school.
Wow, you got an indigo child on your hands.
I know. I see indigo. Why? Why indigo?
Some Eastern thing. I don't know.
Right, because it represents this higher functioning part of our mind. It represents the brain, the mind, our connection to the universe. And I'm seeing kids nowadays who are far beyond what you would think for their age in their abilities and understanding. Even if they haven't learned the technical aspects of things yet, their brain is my other grandson, he knew at age 3 about the stars and that it was the universe, and he was thinking about that.
There's a lot of exposure to information these days because we kind of take information for granted almost because it's everywhere. Like people my generation, when we're without our phones, we don't know what to do because we can't look things up. That's how it is for me, because if I wonder something, I just look it up in 3 seconds and I know what I was wondering. But, if we're without that ability, we don't know what to do.
Right. It's interesting because the grandson with the long-nosed blue seal thing, he lives, like, his mom and dad don't present all that to them so much. They're little. Her kids are very young.
Sure.
And my little guy hasn't actually had much of that input, not that he's very well trained and taught, and they read to him constantly, but they're presenting books first. And it's very interesting to see that, just the kids of today, so many of the children, if they're given any chance at all, they just soar in their thinking and abilities, very exciting to see what's going to come from that,
I grew up in the era before smartphones. Smartphones came around really in like 2007. That's when the first iPhone came out. And I was born in 95, so I had to go a good 12 years before that was even a thing. So I was forced to do a lot of reading myself.
Yeah, my dad used to be like, we'd have a question, get out the encyclopedia, look it up in the dictionary.
My mom would do that all the time, and it's like, Mom, we're not flipping through an encyclopedia. We got a computer here.
Yeah, now you can just doot, and it.
But she taught me alphabetizing, so I guess it was worth it because now I know what the alphabet is.
I wonder if there's any kind of study that speaks of how much knowledge is retained through either device reading or going into your computer and getting a quick input, because now I won't always study something in depth if I look it up on the phone or whatever. But if I'm going to read a book, I'm much more likely to go in depth.
I think you're right. Yeah, I think memory retention when you look it up online is quite low, simply because we use it more as like a random access memory. I look it up online so I know it now, but I'm going to forget it tomorrow.
It's possible, yeah, depending on how much we relate to it, So, as I said, I challenge you or encourage you to use color. If you're down, get out some yellow or green. Red is going to help with depression. Blue is going to help with sleep. Red is going to help stimulate you if you're feeling a little bogged down, And then indigo is just a very creative color that helps you to kind of rise above the daily struggles and maybe go into a place where you're just going to look at your creative mindset and separate yourself from, the day-to-day struggles. So color is a wonderful thing. And each person, you don't have to be an artist. Color's for everyone.
No, sure. People choose things based on color. We buy cars that are blue or red or whatever.
Clothes, some of them I won't wear, like khaki or tan. It makes me look dead. Why? But we definitely love our specific colors. So, well, thanks for joining us today on the Art Beat of Chattanooga, Nooga Radio, 1240 AM, 92.7 FM, and we're glad to have you join us next week again at 1 o'clock for the Art Beat of Chattanooga. Thank you, Russell, for joining me today. This is Jill Ann Collins, and I'll see you next week.
Radio, AM 1240, 92.7 FM.
Nooga Radio, AM 1240 and 92.7 FM News.